It may seem unexpected, but philosophy is deeply engaged with modern challenges, and one of the most pressing among them is artificial intelligence. Philosophers ask fundamental questions. Can human consciousness be replicated? Does consciousness truly exist at all? And how can we clearly define genuine artificial intelligence? Aristotle once argued that rational thought belonged solely to humans. For centuries, the self-proclaimed bearers of reason did not doubt this belief. That confidence remained largely unshaken until the mid-20th century, when the first machines capable of performing calculations appeared. Before that moment, the ability to compute was considered an exclusively human skill. In the 1950s, a turning point occurred. At a seminar held at Dartmouth, the term artificial intelligence was introduced for the first time. One of the participants, Marvin Minsky, proposed a definition. Artificial intelligence is a machine capable of performing tasks that normally require human intellectual effort. If we follow this definition strictly, then almost any device, from a computer to a smartphone or even a washing machine, could be labeled as artificial intelligence. However, the American philosopher John Searle argued that such systems represent only what he called weak artificial intelligence. In 1980, he introduced a key distinction between weak and strong AI. Weak artificial intelligence functions as a practical tool designed to assist humans. Strong artificial intelligence, on the other hand, should not only solve complex intellectual problems, but also possess consciousness in the same sense as a human being. And the nature of consciousness has been a central concern of philosophy since its earliest beginnings. Plato viewed the soul as a metaphysical form of consciousness. Christian theologians later claimed that the soul was a unique creation of God, something beyond human reproduction. René Descartes has introduced the concept of cogito, describing a metaphysical consciousness inseparably linked to the physical body. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz offered another perspective through a thought experiment. He asked us to imagine the human soul as a mechanical structure, similar to a mill. If a person were to enter this mill and examine every component of the mechanism, they would never discover the soul itself. For Leibniz, this demonstrated the impossibility of artificially constructing a soul. Yet as technology advanced, the question of consciousness could no longer be avoided. By the mid-20th century, philosophers were forced to reconsider it. In the 1950s, the renowned scientist Alan Turing published an article in a philosophy journal that posed a question still debated today. Can a machine behave in a way that is indistinguishable from conscious action? This question lies at the heart of the Turing Test. In the test, a person engages in anonymous written communication with several participants, one of whom is a machine. Based solely on the conversation, the person must determine which participant is human. If the machine consistently causes the evaluator to make mistakes, it is taken as evidence of conscious artificial intelligence. However, John Searle strongly disagreed with this conclusion. He criticized the Turing test and maintained that consciousness cannot be reduced to behavior alone. In 1980, he proposed a famous thought experiment known as the Chinese room. Imagine a person locked inside a sealed box who does not understand a single word of Chinese. A native Chinese speaker approaches the box and slips a written symbol inside, expecting a meaningful reply. Inside the box, the person consults a book filled with detailed instructions that specify which symbols should be returned in response to each incoming character. By strictly following these rules, the person produces correct and coherent answers that make sense to the Chinese speaker outside. Yet, despite the accuracy of the responses, the person inside has no understanding of their meaning. John Searle uses this scenario to compare the man in the Chinese room to a computer algorithm, arguing that artificial intelligence, like the man in the box, cannot truly be aware of what it is doing. According to Searle, machines only manipulate symbols according to formal rules without any genuine understanding. Even so, this position has been widely challenged. The American philosopher Daniel Dennett, for example, remains firmly convinced that the creation of artificial intelligence is not only possible, but inevitable. Dennett argues that humans tend to overestimate and romanticize consciousness, placing it unnecessarily in the realm of metaphysics. In his view, what we call consciousness is simply a result of evolutionary processes, a convenient framework the human mind uses to interpret and navigate reality. He supports this perspective through his theory of intentionality. Intentionality, as Dennett defines it, is the capacity of the mind to be directed towards something. To illustrate this idea, he offers a familiar example: playing a game of chess against a computer. Throughout the game, our objective is clear. We want to win. When it is our turn, we attempt to predict the opponent's next move. In theory, when facing a computer, we could analyze the situation at the level of hardware, circuitry, and program code, involving countless experts and unlimited time. But in real gameplay, under time pressure, this approach is impossible. Instead, we instinctively attribute intentions to the computer. We assume it wants to win, fears losing, and hopes for advantage. This is the same mental strategy we use in everyday interactions with other people, interpreting behavior through desires, fears, and expectations. So, if we naturally assign intentions to a machine during a simple chess match, why do we insist that consciousness must be a special, exclusive property belonging only to humans? Perhaps this sense of unique human consciousness is not a fundamental truth at all, but merely a convincing illusion,